It matters not whether we live up to the expectations of our fathers, but rather we as fathers live up to the expectations of our children. Samuel C. Johnson, author of Reflections of Lake Owen. Is there a moment in time you can look back on and recognize that fate, divine providence, or whatever you want to call it, steered you in a certain direction and changed your life? That happened to me. 4 years ago, I was in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota, hanging out in a spacious condo atop the St. Paul Hotel. The residence belonged to my good friend Craig Leopold, the owner of the Minnesota Wild National Hockey League team. We were killing time before walking to the Xcel Energy Center for the start of the Minnesota Wild game. A green leather-bound book on the coffee table caught my eye. The title was Reflections of Lake Owen, and the author was Samuel C. Johnson, who was Craig's father-in-law and the patriarch of a family company that bore his name and made consumer products, including Johnson Wax, Windex glass cleaner, and Ziploc bags. The book was some type of memoir. I sat down on the couch and flipped open to the first few pages. Johnson's words from the prologue hit me like a dump load of snow from a full Zamboni. My dear grandchildren is how the prologue began. What followed were the words he hoped his grandchildren would read someday. After wishing he could protect them from the pains and hurts that would surely happen in life, he said that unfortunately there was nothing he could do after he was gone, which is why he wanted to share his advice and lessons on life in the form of a book. His words and insights resonated with me and inspired me to do the same for my family. This was exactly what I wanted to do for my children and grandchildren, to teach them the lessons I had learned in life. After flying back to my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I couldn't get Johnson's message out of my head. I had to share the lessons I'd learned in life with my children. Having never written a book in my life, I wasn't about to produce a 200-page memoir like Johnson did. So I settled on 14 one-page chapters. Each chapter had a message and a moral to it. A few weeks later, I was having dinner with a few of my close friends at a downtown Milwaukee restaurant. These were the guys I could trust implicitly and whose advice I respected. They wanted to know how things were since our youngest child, Brendan, went off to college. Well, I've written a book, I joked, choosing not to tell them it was only 14 pages long. My buddies asked to hear more, so I shared what I did and some of the lessons I learned. My friend Mark Pacini slapped his hand on the table and said, "That's a book people should read. You could help so many." I was flattered that Mark would say that. He ran the ad agency Foot, Cone & Belding in Chicago. It represented international corporations, including Boeing, KFC, Kraft Foods, Taco Bell, and the Miller Coors Brewing Company. What you have to say could help CEOs, sales organizations, college students, and members of the military coming back from the service, he said. You should publish it. I was pleased that Mark had faith in me. He believed my business background and life experiences could translate into a powerful business tool to benefit others. I was an investment banker with corporate financial advisors in Milwaukee, but during my nearly 30 years in business, my favorite times were those spent consulting, speaking, and training. Over the years, I have been a businessman, an entrepreneur who bought and sold companies, as well as a sports agent for NFL players, baseball players, and golfers. So I took the plunge. I worked with Mike Yorkie, a Southern California writer, to get the prose right. The result was Networking is a Contact Sport, which was released in 2010. I learned early on that the relationships I made while running my business were more valuable than any ad campaign, cost-saving initiative, or product launch. The art of truly connecting with another and all that entails can at once be the simplest, most complex, and most rewarding talents one can endeavor to develop.